Meditation and Spiritual Life, Swami Yatiswarananda. Inner detachment. Simply by giving up this world physically, we cannot become pure in thought, word, and deed all of a sudden. First, avoid bad actions, and then bad thoughts. Though the second, bad thoughts, is more difficult than the action part. It is easier to give up a bad habit than a bad thought. The greatest difficulty lies in attaining purity of thought. This is the case so long as we remain on the plane of relative morality, in which both good and evil are realities. But we try to avoid the evil and bring in the good. Owing to old tendencies and impressions, the evil wants to slip in and sometimes succeeds in coming in. With an effort of the will, we have got to replace it by good thoughts. This tug of war is inevitable in every case. Only as we advance, the struggle becomes subtler and subtler, and having risen above the plane of gross and crude forms of good and evil, we have to deal with their subtler forms. The company of bad friends may be given up very easily. We may easily avoid worldly company and worldly talk, but the internal company of our former worldly friends and impure thoughts connected with them is far more difficult to shake off and far more troublesome. What is to be done then? This inner company of our discarded friends is more dangerous than the actual external company. First of all, cut yourself away resolutely from all old associations and avoid getting fresh stimuli from the external world. Then do some self analysis. Find out the ways in which old memories occur in your mind. Through relentless discrimination, detach yourself from all old images. Constantly give powerful suggestions to your mind and convince it of the wretchedness of the life of attachment and hatred. Go on removing all the old dirt and be careful not to accumulate fresh dirt. Gradually, you will find your mind becoming clearer and stronger. During all these struggles, both on gross and subtler planes, we should try to dwell on the holy thought, that is the name and form of our chosen deity, as much as possible, and thus drive away the unholy ones. But sometimes the imagination grows morbid and unholy pictures become very vivid in spite of ourselves. In such a case, while repeating the holy mantra, we should take the position of a witness or a spectator towards the evil thoughts and detach ourselves from their tangle. So, when thoughts and images are popping up in the mind, be a witness and don't engage with it. During the moments of forgetfulness, we may identify and engage ourselves with evil thoughts and feel affected both mentally as well as physically, but without doing any bad action. However, as we become more and more watchful and practice non identification, we can keep them at a distance even before they make their appearance before us. So we become so much alert that before appearing into the mind's plane, mind's eye, mind's canvas, we become alert and nip it in the bud, so to say, by just becoming a witness and not engaging. So it dies off a natural death. This higher form of detachment, the inner detachment of the self, is the great help is a great help to spiritual aspirants. Higher form of detachment, this witness attitude. Witness is it is synonymous to inner detachment of the self. when they actually get a real spiritual experience, this detachment becomes spontaneous. What is the spiritual experience? That experience of me whose real nature is of a witness. Under certain circumstances, it is not possible to prevent the rising of a bad thought. But through practice, slowly one can look upon it as one would in the case of a mirage, the unreal nature. So, in a mirage, we see what we see, but we know that it's not true. In the case of a mirage, the unreal nature of which one has already found out. The phenomena cannot be altogether stopped. So we will see, but it may be seen just as a phenomena, something having the semblance of reality but unreal in its true nature. In another, in order to realize the unreality of the phenomenon of names and forms and a false relationship with it, we must try to see the divine standing behind it. As we succeed in recognizing the divine principle at the back of all physical forms, we will be able to remain really unaffected by them. So, this seeing the divine principle. So, once I become detached, that inner detachment which helps me see my real nature as just the witness, untouched, unbothered. That means some amount of vairagya, mental purity has come within. More and more vairagya and selflessness develops as I evolve more from a attached, selfish being to a more detached, calm, fulfilled, complete, eternally with aware being. I identify this nature of the self with the divine self. How? We understand that this unattached self is what we have been calling it as divine. So that is what it is. We must try to see the divine standing behind it. That is, we become that divine, unattached, standing behind, above, unattached by it. As we succeed to in recognizing the divine principle at the back of it all, of all physical forms, we will be able to remain truly, really unaffected by them. If in the course of the struggle we cannot help feeling more or less affected by them, we should not brood over the lapse, but try to think of the divine as much as possible.